Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Good evening. Welcome to Vernon Vibes. As always, it's great to have this opportunity to talk with you, and I certainly look forward to it when we sit down in front of the camera after the most recent town council meeting. And the most recent town council meeting was, of course, the evening of August 11th. And for those of you who follow the agenda of the town council meeting, you will know that there was initially scheduled a presentation by Mountain Creek concerning their request for a pilot bond program in Vernon Township. Unfortunately, Mr. Mulvihill was taken ill and could not be there, and so requested that the town council actually postpone that presentation. The town council decided on the evening of the 11th that next Monday night, this coming Monday night, which would be August 18th, they will be holding a work session that will be totally devoted to the presentation from Mountain Creek, in which the questions will be answered and the council will have the opportunity, in fact, to delve deeply into this particular program. A little later on in the program, I'm going to share some things with you about the pilot program because there seems to be an awful lot of misunderstanding on the part of people in this town. The newspapers have written articles about tax abatement and about pilot programs being in place of payment of or in lieu of taxes and the like. That's only partially so. And so I'd like to take some time this evening to talk specifically about what is a pilot program, what is the pilot program that is being requested by Mountain Creek, and how will it actually impact Vernon Township. But we'll do that when we come right back in just a minute.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Welcome back. About this time last year, actually in September of 2013, the Mountain Creek Corporation, in the person of CEO Andrew Mulvihill, approached Vernon Township and related their plans and desire to create in Vernon Township an indoor water park hotel, much on the lines of the Great Wolf Lodge up in the Poconos and other places around the country. These kinds of facilities have experienced a high popularity, and in fact, it was during that presentation, it was the thought of the Mountain Creek Corporation that it could easily address several of the problems that our resort here in Vernon Township has had since its inception 50 years ago. I'm sure many of you know, those of you who have been in Vernon a long time, that the resort recreation industry in Vernon Township began way back in the 60s, in the 1960s, and with the advent of Great Gorge, the first ski area, and then not too long after that, the construction and the building of the Playboy Club, which is now known as Legends, then Vernon Valley ski area, and then subsequently the development of the golf courses and all of the other amenities like the spas and the restaurants that have grown up over the past 50 years that this industry has been in Vernon Township. But one of the issues, and there have been several, but one of the issues that always affected Mountain Creek, which is the successor to all of those places that I just named, had to do with the fact that their business really was weather-related, seasonal. In the wintertime, if it wasn't cold enough to make snow, the ski business suffered severely. In the summertime, if it wasn't warm and hot, then the action park or the water park suffered greatly. And more importantly than that, on the shoulder seasons, the spring and the fall, the employees who were necessary to, in fact, man the ski area and man the water park, action park, actually had to be laid off. And so, in essence, every 3 months, the company was recruiting people, having to retrain them. And so they were looking for to achieve several objectives. The first one, of course, was to, in fact, level out their cash flow or their money stream. And the indoor water hotel is a year-round facility. This hotel will be open 12 months of the year, will offer activity, and by the way, it's not only water activity, but planned for this project, as I understand it in the presentation that we've seen, is a very active athletic facility with unique kinds of activities, I guess on the order of extreme sports. I'm really not into that, but I understand that it's quite popular. But the point of the matter is that people who would be working at the indoor water hotel would indeed have year-round employment. And we in Vernon would not see the peaks and valleys, so to speak, of the resort recreation industry because we would have modified some of that with the presence of the indoor water hotel. Now, there are a lot of people that I think, based upon what I've read on Facebook and comments I've seen in the paper and the like, who immediately indicate, oh, why should we give a tax break to this company? Well, I look at it this way. The piece of property where this facility is planned presently generates $15,500 worth of property tax in total to Vernon Township, the Board of Education, and the county. $15,500 split up this way, 20% to Vernon Township, works out to be about $3,900 a year on this piece of property. The proposal that is being made by Mountain Creek for a pilot program will, in fact, generate a significant amount of money. At the present time, it is somewhere in excess of $1.5 million in revenue, $200,000 of which would go to the county, $200,000 of which would go to the school or thereabouts, $189,000, I guess, and the balance which would come to Vernon Township, that being $1.25 million. So, setting aside all the other issues, and there are others, and will have to be addressed, that piece of property, as it sits, generates $3,900 in taxes to Vernon Township. As an indoor water hotel, it will generate $1.26 million in revenue every year for the life of the bond that's being requested. I'm going to come back in just a minute, and we're going to talk about that bond.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about that bond. Let me state clearly, Vernon Township is not guaranteeing any money. Vernon Township is not guaranteeing any bond. It's a corporate bond that Mountain Creek intends to secure through the State Economic Development Commission or the Morris County Industrial Commission. And the amount of money that they're looking to raise in that particular bond is $28 million. The overall cost of this project is $140 million, the largest construction project in the history of Sussex County, generating during its construction phase close to 1,000 jobs for all of those people in our town who have had a tough time in the trades. The masons, the electricians, the carpenters, and all the other trades that have suffered so greatly through unemployment and underutilization due to two things, the Great Recession and the advent of the Highlands. And so the prospect of having solid construction jobs in Vernon Township over the 2-year construction period to build this hotel is certainly a boost to our economy. Following and the opening of the hotel, we would see approximately 800 jobs attendant to the hotel, something that we need badly in this town. Now, I've heard the people who have written and said, well, why don't we develop something else? Ladies and gentlemen, we are past the point in time where that's ever going to happen in Vernon, and it's not because there isn't a desire on the part of this mayor or your town council. It's because we are in the Highlands. The Highlands Preservation Zone now covers 74% of our landmass. It, in essence, has stopped all residential and all commercial construction in Vernon Township outside of the sewer service area. Hopefully, you will understand that the advent of the sewer system, with all of its trials and tribulations and all of its fits and starts and all of the problems that have occurred in getting it started up, our MUA has done a good job to resolve those problems, but it is only in the area of the sewer that we will ever see any development that will help offset your property tax. Let me say it again. Offset your property tax. The $1.25 million pilot payment that would come to Vernon Township that would be in our treasury, our coffers, represents almost 10 tax points every year for the life of the bond. The bond is a 30-year bond, and I've heard people say, oh, we should only do it for 5 years, or we should only do it for whatever. No. Here's something that most of us don't know about. I didn't know it, to be honest with you, until I became the mayor. Commercial enterprises in the state of New Jersey have the ability to appeal their tax assessment just like you do on your home. But it's done differently for commercial. There are 3 ways in which it happens. One, of course, is construction cost. 2 of which is comparable sales. Well, there aren't too many comparable sales of indoor water park hotels. And 3, on gross revenue. Gross profit from revenue, excuse me. Now, let's assume that there was no pilot and there was no contract and there was no guarantee as to anything other than the fact that Mountain Creek would pay the property taxes on the hotel. At the end of the first year, I guarantee you the very first thing that would happen is that the appraisal of that building would be appealed. and we would be subject to the vagaries of the tax court in New Jersey as to whether or not the assessment would stand, and therefore whether or not the amount of money in revenue coming to the township would stand. With a pilot program, it is a contract in which the township and the developer sign an agreement that that payment will stay the same for the life of the bond. 30 years, no appeal. A guaranteed revenue stream of $1.25 million to Vernon Township represents 5% of our total operating budget in this township. And when you add to it the increase in the hotel occupancy tax, which has been represented to be as high as $700,000 to $800,000, we're talking about a $2 million revenue stream into the Vernon Township coffers, which you and I as homeowners will benefit from because we don't have to raise that from your property tax. Put that in the balance of your thoughts and your decision versus $3,900. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I know full well that this process concerning the pilot program and the potential for it in terms of impact on Vernon Township has got to go forward, and there are questions to be dealt with: parking, environmental, all of the things that are attendant to any large project. I also know full well that there's some people who are dead set against it. But to be candid with you, ladies and gentlemen, from the welfare of this township financially, I'm now talking about from a property tax base, from the welfare of this township from the point of view of jobs created, from the welfare of this township of finally turning Vernon into a world-class resort with the critical mass that's necessary to be competitive with other destination resorts. The indoor water hotel park has everything to offer. And here's the last part of this that I want to point out to you. All of you know that in 2011, when we bought the sewer system from United Water, the town council authorized the purchase price, which was $3.8 million, and also then authorized $2.8 million in funds that would be used to see to it, if necessary, that the bills of the Vernon MUA were paid timely to the county MUA. So far, we have had a deficit of $900,000 in the first 3 years. So we've had to use, the MUA's had to use $900,000 of that $2.8 million. There is an agreement between Vernon and Mountain Creek that whatever that deficit is, Mountain Creek will pay 67% of it starting in year 5, and Vernon will pay a third of it. This water hotel, when it opens, will make the deficit go away. It will in fact turn the Vernon MUA from a deficit operation to a positive credit operation, taking away the specter of failure, taking away the specter of increased sewer rates for the people who live in the Great Gorge Village or the people who have businesses in the town center. This project on all fronts addresses the key issue that Vernon Township faces as we go down the road together, and that is increased cost with a decreasing population, a decreasing asset base from residential construction, since there isn't any anymore, and we must find ways to address that. Those of you who followed my campaign for mayor know what I said when I ran. Vernon Township needs to develop its commercial ratables, and we have moved in that direction at every opportunity. This water park hotel is a big piece of putting that puzzle together successfully to your benefit as well as the rest of the people who live in Vernon. I'll be back in just a second.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I want to shift gears for a moment, if I may, and kind of refresh your memory. Shortly after taking office, we made a decision to, in fact, restructure and to lay off the two people who were in the fire prevention office, that being Thomas Van Gorder and William Hendrickson. And at the time, Mr. Jimes, who was our business administrator, was the appointing authority for civil service. Because he had been as the manager, and we left it that way when I became the mayor. As we moved through the process of layoff, unbeknownst to me, and I believe to Jerry also, who came to us from Randolph, a non-civil service community, we were required to follow a certain layoff plan, even though these two gentlemen were part-time employees. We didn't realize it, and so when we laid them off, Mr. Hendrickson and Mr. Van Gorder, husband of Lynn Van Gorder, litigant in the Rinker Van Gorder lawsuit, filed suit against us. The civil service directed that we had to adopt a layoff plan. We had to give them 45 days of pay. And we did all of those things, and the layoff plan was approved by the New Jersey Civil Service Commission. Well, Mr. Van Gorder and Mr. Hendrickson weren't satisfied, and so they filed suit in the New Jersey Office of Administrative Law, claiming that they were laid off and fired because of some kind of animus from myself and Mr. Jimes. It has taken 2.5 years to work its way through the administrative office of the courts. And on Friday of last week, I received the final decision. And while I don't normally do this, I want to read to you the judge's decision. In the case of Thomas Van Gorder and William Hendrickson versus Vernon Township, I conclude, this is the judge speaking, that the record is deplete of any evidence of bad faith on the part of Vernon Township, who readily acknowledged that proper layoff proceedings were not initially followed. The appellants seek to use the Civil Service Commission's prior finding that Vernon Township failed to follow the proper layoff procedure as a sword in this proceeding to determine bad faith. However, that issue was properly decided previously by the Civil Service Commission, and the appellants received the remediation for Vernon Township's lapse that was within the CSC's scope and authority. The appellants cannot receive further relief on that resolved issue in this proceeding, absent compelling legal authority to support a de facto finding of bad faith in similar circumstances. Moreover, neither of the appellants' testimony revealed any bona fide evidence of bad faith. Hendrickson admitted that he was considered and interviewed for the position and offered a forum to detail his credentials and his recommendations on how that position should be structured. He also acknowledged that he experienced no personal animus from the mayor in any of their interactions. Although he did indicate that he experienced the business administrator to be disrespectful and rude, those assertions alone were insufficient to constitute bad faith on the part of Vernon Township in failing to hire him for the position. Particularly, the mayor's recollection of the interview was consistent with Hendrickson's, except that the mayor also recalled that Hendrickson indicated that he really wanted to be a professor, and therefore the position would be only a stop along the route to his ultimate career desire. I found the mayor credible in that he considered that Hendrickson had other priorities in long-term employment plans in making his decision not to hire him. Similarly, I conclude that Van Gorder's testimony did not elicit evidence of bad faith in Vernon Township's decision not to hire him for the position. I found the business administrator's testimony credible, that he advised both Hendrickson and Van Gorder that they could apply for the new position, which was corroborated by the mayor's testimony that he informed Van Gorder that the potential change to a full-time position was forthcoming in the transition of administrative changes. Additionally, I find it incredible that such a small department in which Hendrickson and Van Gorder worked in such close concert that Hendrickson would know about the opportunity to apply, but Van Gorder did not. Additionally, it is undisputed that Van Gorder held a full-time position as a firefighter in Englewood, which created a reasonable and good faith appearance that he was not otherwise available for full-time work as a fire marshal in Vernon Township. Finally, the preponderance of credible evidence demonstrates that Vernon Township laid off the appellants for purposes of efficiency and economy in light of the change in administration and the change in the form of government. The township's witnesses were compelling and credible, including their contrition and acknowledgement of having botched the initial layoff due to a misconception of the applicability of civil service rules to part-time employees, an issue which the CSC had previously resolved. Therefore, accordingly, I order that the appointing authority's layoff decision as to both appellants is affirmed. I hereby file my initial decision with the Civil Service Commission for their consideration. Ladies and gentlemen, 2.5 years, $20,000 in legal fees, and what happened? Vernon Township did what was right. This mayor has taken a tremendous amount of criticism from the people involved in this and their family members. Whether it's their political agenda or not, I'll leave that to them. But the fact of the matter is, the issue is settled. I now have been told that our friends are intending to take some other action. So be it. They obviously don't care how they spend your money. I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. I thank you for the opportunity to listen. I hope you found this evening's program informative. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next Vernon Vibes.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in. We're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.